Thanks for that, Andrew. My ears are still ringing from the atmosphere the kids here created today in GIA as OSU Cowgirls defeated UCA by a score of 89 to 58. Keeping pace and distance running is super important. To keep pace on an already strong season, the Cowboys have to place in the top two to extend on the Nationals. As you can see, it's a tough task. With over 1,000 yards of offense between both teams and even going to overtime, it's the Cowboys who are eating ribs. All right, I'm out here in front of the library. They just dyed the fountain orange to begin homecoming officially. So what I'm going to do is talk to a few of our students and our guests out here to see what their favorite traditions are for homecoming. On a night where the Cowboys end their season, it may be the end of a career for wide receiver Brendan Presley. Thanks for that, Andrew. My ears are still ringing from the atmosphere the kids here created today in GIA as OSU Cowgirls defeated UCA by a score of 89 to 58. The Cowgirls started the game off on a 9-0 run sparked by senior honor grad Ices 3, followed by Tannen Magassa in the post, and a pull-up by Alexia Smith, which left UCA stunned as OSU was filled by the excited crowd of kids here today.
It's just a special day for us. It's a cool opportunity for us to get to use our platform to give kids opportunities and exposure to really high-level basketball. And, we talked a lot before this game about just what we wanted to make of today. And that was just to inspire and, be great role models for all the little ones out there. So I am very, very proud because I thought that our kids did that in every way, shape, and form.
The team continued to keep their foot on the gas and pile up the buckets as the Cowgirls raced off and left the Sugar Bears in the dust. Now, this is the first time in the J.C. Hoyt era the team has started out 5-0. Now, we did get a little bit of news here as it has been confirmed by Coach Hoyt that Jasmine Player will be the interim coach while she's on maternity leave. Live here from GIA, Steve Spears, the Daily O.
Cowboys made the 4-hour trip to the Little Apple to take on Kansas State in its second top 25 matchup in a row. Coming off a loss to Utah, where they struggled to move the ball on offense, it was definitely a focus this week. Early in the first half, the Cowboys had success in balancing the offense as Ollie Gordon rushed for 70 yards in the first quarter.
I'd like to, you'd like to score a few more touchdowns and kicking field goals against good teams in a good spot. But not scheme-wise, we're fine. We got to fit the run better. Offensively, it's important for us now to stay balanced. Can't be one or the other.
Turnovers and lost opportunities will cost the Cowboys in this one as they lose 42-20. Allen Bowman threw 2 interceptions and lost a fumble. But defense also shares the blame as well. Avery Johnson only passed for 259 yards, but made it look easy due to the lack of pressure in the pocket. He also rushed for 2 TDs to go along with his 3 passing. The Cowboys are back home this week to take on West Virginia, who got a win 32-28 over Kansas. From Manhattan, Kansas, Steve Spears, O'Collie TV.
With over 1,000 yards of offense between both teams and even going to overtime, it's the Cowboys who are eating ribs.
The Razorbacks used their run game to jump out to a 21-10 lead at halftime, but the Cowboys stayed the course and capitalized off the Razorbacks' mistakes.
I think we won the game because we were in better condition. The latter part of the third quarter, the fourth quarter, and overtime, when you get tired, the first thing that goes is your mind. Mentally, you don't play well. You make mistakes. That didn't happen to our guys. Our guys are in great condition. They were able to function when they were fatigued, and we were able to finish the game, and that's the reason why we won the game.
Wide receiver Brendan Presley did a lot of heavy lifting in this game with 9 catches for 91 yards and a receiving touchdown, also with 1 rushing. But when it all came down to it in the second overtime, the defense came up with a last-second stop to win the game.
With the 39-31 win, the Cowboys are on the road next week as they travel to Tulsa. From Boone Pickens Stadium, Steve Spears, O'Collie TV. Yeah, Tessa, it's been one roller coaster of a week for Cowboy athletics when it comes to basketball. Let's start with the boys this week. The Cowboys fell to Kansas State on Wednesday by a score of 85-57 in Manhattan. Chi Avery led the Cowboys with 22 points, and K-State had 4 scores in double figures. Now we're going to fast forward over to Saturday when the Cowboys bounced back with a home win over Utah when they won 81-72. Bryce Thompson had a breakout game and led the Cowboys with 20 points, followed by Chi Avery with 17. Ezra Osur led the Utes with 18 points in a loss. Now, fast forward to last night, the Cowboys were back on the other end of the seesaw with a 9-point loss to Houston, which is a win itself. Abu Osman led the Cowboys with 16 points, and 3 other Cowboys got in double figures. Now, Houston leading scorer L.J. Cryer led the Cougars with 18 points. Now, the Cowboys sit at 500 after the loss with a chance to get back in the win column Sunday when they host Arizona State, who just lost to Kansas State by 1 and are tied with the Cowboys for 3-8 in the Big 12 Conference. So it's definitely been a struggle there. Now, let's go over ahead and go to the Cowgirls. Now, they were able to pull off a win against Arizona State, 83-71 on Wednesday, which was led by Staley Hurd, and she dominated with 28 points and 10 rebounds. Ty Skinner led the Sun Devils with 23 points, and the second most points she's ever scored this season, so she got off. Now, they traveled to Morgantown where they got embarrassed in a 54-37 loss to West Virginia. The Cowgirls shot 8% from 3, and only Alexia Smith scored in double figures. Annegret Asi actually went scoreless, playing 24 minutes. Now, Sydney Shaw did lead West Virginia with 18 points. Now, this is the second time the Cowgirls have lost a game after getting ranked. They're still ranked 25th in the nation right now, and next up doesn't get any better. You got Kansas State on Saturday. Their only conference loss is to Colorado. They're led by Ayoka Lee, who's a force.
One final trip into the offensive zone. Fisher will pick up the D on Thompson. Thompson from 18. No. Put back. Good!
John Michael Wright became a key call for OSU last year as one of the top scorers in the nation before transferring into OSU. He started every game for the Cowboys and averaged 10 points. As he hit every shot for the Cowboys, his father was proudly watching from the stands.
He was the guy who first introduced me to basketball. So you can only imagine how that relationship was being that I'm here now at a D1 school. So
when we're little boys, we look at our fathers as superheroes. We look to them to give us examples on how to be men. They even introduce us to the sports that we'll play forever.
Yeah, he never missed a game, right? Yeah, he really loved basketball, man. Like, cause he was a player himself. He played at D3 at Eureka College in Illinois. So yeah, he was at every ASU game, every high school game, and every game last year here at OSU. He was there.
To prep for his final season at OSU, the Cowboys took a preseason trip to Spain, where he then got a phone call that would change his life forever.
So my brother called me at like 7 a.m., but it was 1 a.m. here. So when he called me twice. I didn't pick up, and then my grandma called me, and my grandma doesn't really call me that much. So I'm saying, okay, what's going on? So then he called me again, and I picked up, and I said, well, what's up? And he was like, man, I'm so sorry. And I was confused because I thought maybe he like crashed my car. I was like, man, Bishop, because we called my stepdad Bishop because he was a bishop. So he said, man, Bishop died. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, man, he passed away. He was sitting in the chair and stood up, told my mom, he said, man, I ain't gonna make it, and laid down. And she took him to the hospital, and then the doctor told him he was gone. And he told me that. I'm like, bro, like, I'm just confused. And I talked to him the night before, probably around 12 o'clock, and he sounded fine. He was just saying, man, I'm so proud of you. I can't wait for you to get back. And then 7 hours later, he didn't know that his time was coming. And I'm thankful that we was able to have that conversation, but still, I feel like I wasn't really able to. We weren't really able to close it off the way that I feel like it deserved to happen.
Players see the court as a way to seek refuge from their personal lives, but his teammates believe he is built for this challenge.
Me and John's a strong guy. John carries himself very well. His parents raised him well, so I don't think it'll really affect John. I think it'll give him a little more encouragement. We do things for the people that we love, and I think he's just gonna step it up another level. John's a phenomenal player, so I don't think it really affected him. He's John Mike,
With Bishop no longer in the stands to watch every game, his last collegiate season has a lot more meaning, as it's not just about basketball.
Because my whole life playing, I've always known him to be in the stands, If he wasn't in the stands, he would just call me or send me a message before the game. And just not having that, it's kind of weird. But this season, it's dedicated to him.
Bishop's legacy has had a long-lasting impact on John Michael. He still follows the examples that were taught to him by his superhero.
My stepfather has taught him to not be fazed by a lot of things. Even in his death, he's kept that teaching. So he's, pushing forward. He's composed. He's, motivated, and, he's ready. He's going to do well. And I know, my father be proud of him.